Hey everybody! I am working on all my quilt market projects. I've got less than a week to have them all done. No big deal, no pressure, oh my god! Okay, but while I started working on this project, I thought, wait a minute, I can use this as a little teaching moment and show you how to do fake binding if you've never done it before. So I'll show you. This is what I'm working on. It's a little banner for the booth that says When Sparks Fly, which is the name of the new fabric collection. And I'm not going to be using this quilt. I'll probably just be hanging it up on the wall. So it doesn't really need proper traditional binding. What I can do is take the fabric that's on the back of my quilt and fold it forward and make it the binding. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. So just a couple quick things when it comes to doing this. Number one, you need to make sure that your backing fabric is at least, I like to keep it like at least 2 inches wider on all sides than the quilt top. So you can see here I've trimmed it. It's about 2 to 3 inches bigger, just so that when you're quilting it, if there is any shifting, you've got your extra allowance. Okay? Second tip, when you start quilting this, you can't quilt off the edge. You have to quilt just within the quilt top. So don't start here and stitch down, because then you won't be able to fold this down. Just keep your stitches. If you're going to do straight line stitching, start each stitch here and work your way down, whatever. Keep it all within the quilt top. Okay, and when you're done your quilting, you'll then really carefully separate your 3 sections. Or you'll separate the batting from the backing, and you'll trim all that excess batting off right to the edge of the quilt top. So I'll show you how to do that next, but I have to finish quilting this first. Okay, I'm keeping the quilting really simple on this. I'm just going around the border, and then I'm doing this really cute blanket stitch around each of the applique letters because I used fusible web. So I'm just doing a little stitch like that. So yeah, I'll do that. And then I'll come back and I'll show you the next steps of how to finish off that binding. It's so much faster than real binding. It's coming in really handy for my deadline. Yeah, so I'll be back. Maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow when the sun is good again, and I'll show you the rest. So stick around. Yeah. I'm such a nerd. Okay, stick around, I'll be back. All right, it's been a few days. I decided to quilt all my quilts and then come back and bind them all. So I've done all the quilting I'm going to do on this, and now we're going to do fake binding. So I already went ahead and I trimmed the batting off to be in line with the front very carefully. So you peel this back to make sure that you don't accidentally clip the backing fabric. So I've trimmed all the batting off, and I've got this backing fabric sticking out now. And then you just take your ruler and you set it here, and you go 1 inch from the quilt top, and you just make a pencil line, and you're going to trim it off. So you're going to trim it down to 1 inch, so it's like this. Okay, and then it's so simple. Then you can iron it in half, and then fold it over, pin it in place, sew all the way around. Do some fancy folding on the corner to do some nice mitered corners, and then you'll have it all bound, and no one will be any the wiser. Well, unless they flip it over and look at the back, but still, it's a nice quick method for doing binding. So I'm just going to finish trimming this up, and then I'll stitch it on, and I'll show you what it looks like. Yay! Okay, there, so I've stitched the binding on. I just fold and fold again. Mitered the corners by doing a corner fold, and it looks nice and clean. Comes from the back, folds right over, looks really good. I also like how this wild side print beast mode kind of goes with all these other crazy new prints. So yeah, that's it. So now I have to go and bind the block of the month quilt that I just posted a pattern for you guys in yesterday's post. So go and grab the pattern if you want it. It's not really a pattern, it's a guide to how to lay it out, and it tells you which blocks and how many of each you need to make. And then you just take all the blocks off of my drop box to make it. Yeah, so I'm going to bind that one next, and then I have 3 more quilts to bind, big ones. And then I leave for Houston in 3 days, so oh my God. Just breathe, right? Just breathe. Okay, back to it. I hope this was helpful.